Good morning everyone, my name is Michelle, I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another video. It is Wednesday morning, the 6th of August. Is it the 6th today? Is it really? If it's not the 6th, you're going to tell me in the comments, so that's fine. Alright, today we are going to Tennessee. We're going to the Summer Wells case. Summer Wells, then 5 years old, went missing from her home in the Beech Creek community of Hawkins County on the northeast edge of Tennessee on June 15th, 2021. No sight, no sound, nothing of Summer since that afternoon when she was last seen, allegedly, by her brothers when she went into the house to go and play with her toys. That's according to her mother, Candice Bly. But then the brothers, three brothers, told Sheriff Ronnie Lawson on the night of June 15th that they last saw Summer going outside the basement door. And we don't know what time Summer went missing. Candice allegedly was on Fred Hill's driveway about 4:30 looking for Summer, or looking for something at least. Jodie Sue, a neighbour across the road from the Wells, heard a scream between 4:30 and 4:42. So you've got these interesting little snippets of things that may or may not be true. What we're going to do in this video is we're going to look at some things that Fred Hill said. Last night I was watching Deets and I got about 3.5 hours in before I went to sleep, so I've got a little bit to catch up on this morning. I was watching it live for a period of time. You know, I'm normally on the replay crew with live streams, but actually I caught part of this live. Alright, so we're going to talk about that. Fred Hill is a neighbour. Properties, as was then, 165, 167, which is the same property, and then 207 a little bit down the road, which is also a Hill property. Right, well, Fred Hill said a lot. YouTuber Ziggy first met Fred in January of 2022, so about 6-7 months after Summer disappeared, and she went back a few times to interview him. He was very happy to talk a lot. But, you know, his stories have changed over time. At least Don and Candice have stuck to a script, you know, planting flowers with Grandma, Summer wanting to go to her brother's. She got a piece of peppermint, she washed her hands, then Candice walked her part of the way over to the house, which is only like a matter of yards away from Grandma's camper, and then she was never seen again. That part of the story has stayed absolutely consistent, almost word for word. It's a script. That's what we're going to do in this video. We're also going to talk a little bit about Austin Drummond from the northwest corner of Tennessee. This guy allegedly murdered 4 people that he has family connections to via one of the deceased's sister, allegedly. He murdered 4 people last Tuesday afternoon, so about 8 days ago now. A grandma, 2 adult children, and one of the adult children's partner. He spared the baby of James, or Matthew, his name's changed, and Adriana, but then went on the run. We've got 3 people arrested for assisting him, accessories to murder after the fact, and he has been wanted for 4 counts of first-degree murder and various other lesser charges, including a firearms charge. Well, a couple of nights ago, he was caught on various people's ring cameras, trying doors. Very scary if you live there. Jackson, Tennessee. Well, yesterday someone spotted him and called the cops. So I want to play you a little bit of this interview here. This was from yesterday morning.
Ricardo Contreras, he's the man who spotted Austin Drummond this morning walking and reported it to police. So, Ricardo, if you will step into the shot over here.
Okay.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing good.
It's been an exciting day for you.
Oh, it was, and it's still. But I think it was good.
Can you explain for our viewers what happened this morning?
Well, what happened is it was like we're working outside painting a house, and one of my guys, he hears something into the wood. And he came to me and told me like, hey, I hear something back there, and I think it's a man walking over there. And I was like, a man? So at that point, I knew it was him, because who else can be walking in between the wood, especially in that area that they've been looking for him last night and the whole day yesterday. So we saw him. I can't even tell you was at that moment if it was him or not. I just saw a man with a black dress walking into the wood, and we're trying to follow him with with the eyes and all that. And so one of my guys asked me if are you gonna call the police or what? And I was like, at some point I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it, because I don't want to get in trouble just because of that. And
Wait, what? You're not going to call the police, even though you know it's a wanted man for quadruple homicide? You're not going to call the police, okay. You're not going to get in trouble, even if it's the wrong guy.
but that was probably about 6 seconds, and I was like, no, I have to call the police. And so I called the police, and so they do all the work for that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, let me ask you something, Ricardo. Was he carrying a weapon when you saw him?
Well, it was hard to tell you if he did it or not, because it was kind of like, it's like I said, middle of the wood, and we didn't see it really good. But apparently he didn't carry anything on his hand, because I think police officers, they asked me for a backpack or something like that. I never see something like that. Never see a backpack or something on him.
All right, well, maybe he'd left his backpack and the rifle that he was seen carrying somewhere, and he's out hunting for food. Well, seeing as he spent 10 years getting pizzas delivered to his cell, he spent his entire adult life behind bars. Did 10 years for armed robbery. He's not going to be able to survive. He's not going to be able to hunt his own food. He's not. Anyway, they got him. So he's back to living behind bars, and I assume he's going to spend the rest of his life there. Unless he's got a really good defence team who get him out. I doubt it, though. Let's just hope, though, this time he's inside. He doesn't have all mod cons like TV, video games, pizza deliveries, lots of commissary, and 2 phones. Let's just hope that Austin Drummond's life now is uncomfortable. They have the death penalty in Tennessee, don't they? Yeah. Right. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the Summer Wells case. And Fred Hill. He had lots of stories. The first meeting with Ziggy, he said he thought Summer drowned at the swimming hole in Kingsport, where she'd spent a few minutes there, in very shallow water, by the way. Then he said, oh, well, Don and Candice had to have done something, because that night, just a few hours after the cops were called, like 3 hours after the cops were called, Don went to Fred's, saying, Summer's dead, I'll see her in the resurrection. Then he started blaming Jody Sue and Andy. Jody Sue, the neighbour across from the Wells. Andy, who is Fred Hill's cousin, was the partner of Jody Sue at the time, and they had something to do with it. They sat down the bottom of the Wells driveway in their car for 3 days and nights, after which time Andy split and went to Knoxville. Well, allegedly that's not true, because he carried on working at his job. So Fred has made up all sorts of stories. Now maybe Fred is just theorising. He's not saying anything for sure, he's just theorising, as we all do. That's okay. But Fred, I don't like what Fred said in this little section of this particular interview. So we're going to play a few minutes here from Dietz. This is Dietz and Gavel Geeks, who were listening to Fred's early interviews. I think they're on the second interview at this point, with Ziggy. And you do know that Fred and Ziggy are now married, don't you? Fred lives with Ziggy now, like out of Tennessee. Lives at Ziggy's now. Did you know that? They've been married over a year. So, was it love at first sight? She was driving down Ben Hill Road and she stopped. And she said, are you Fred? Their eyes met and it was love at first sight. I've no idea. Was it a slow burn into romance? I don't know. But it certainly wasn't instant, because Fred went to jail. He spent a few months in jail for meth dealing. But he's out now. He's clean. Apparently he's sober. So that's good. Good on him. Turned his life around. Alright, but I don't like what he said here. So we're going to play a few minutes of this. But first, I know a lot of you really like this intro. And I'm ways and ways into the video now, but I'm still going to play it. Here we go. The Battle of the Beech Creekers continues.
Fred, and Fred done put the word out to him. You say my name again, and he'll kill him.
Okay, we're going to start at the 3:01 mark here.
I mean, I pay attention a lot more than people think. I ain't just the old dopehead that slinging dope not paying no attention.
No, I can tell you have a...
Well, I mean, but you kind of are.
Yeah, I'm not just the dopehead that people think. Yeah, you kind of are. At least you were at the time.
really good memory. You know how I know? It's because you're telling me, that's how I can tell if somebody's honest, and I can tell it's you because you repeat stories the same as like the last time.
If you don't lie, you ain't got...
Yeah, you don't, Fred, though. You don't repeat the stories the same 2 times over, 3 times over. How many times has the Andy was on the road that day story changed? So I think that's only changed once with the addition of an extra vehicle coming in. But what about Fred saying at first that he hauled 6 or 7 cars away that day because he like scraps cars and does things with them to take to the scrappy? Well, maybe he did haul some cars earlier in the day. But what he actually said was at the time that Summer disappeared, and how does he know what time Summer disappeared? Because none of us know what time Summer disappeared. We just know it was some time between about 3:20 and 6:26 when the 911 call was made. So Fred was gone that entire time, apparently, because he had to take another car to the scrappy. Except he didn't. That story changed. Completely changed. But then he had to make up something else as to why he wasn't there when Summer disappeared.
But here's one. Where was he when Summer went missing? First interview, he was gone. Second interview, didn't see nothing in the holler when she went missing.
Exactly.
First interview, there was a truck back in the holler. Then there was Andy in his car, and the truck followed him out. Second interview, there was a truck back in the holler. Then a car with a young girl comes into the holler, and then Andy comes in. So now we have just in a short span, 10 minutes.
He didn't know why, though. He couldn't remember nothing about that truck. And then it's a dark color truck.
And then hauling cars. First interview, he hauled 6 or 7 cars off that day. Second interview, I couldn't haul any off because I couldn't make it before they closed. But he tells the same story without changing every time. Okay, Ziggy.
And it gets worse up through today.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because you repeat stories the same as like the last time.
If you don't lie, you ain't got no...
Right, exactly. That's how
If you're lying, then your stories are going to change. But if you don't lie, then the story's the same. Well, Fred, you got to be lying then, haven't you, son? By your own logic.
Exactly. It just like happens the same.
There's a lot of people don't like me and her because we straight up and stuff, and 90% of people can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, they say, oh, just be honest with me.
People can't handle the truth. I don't like that. What's the truth? If you can't handle the truth that Fred would be able to tell you, well, what is that truth?
Just don't be honest with me. I look at him all the time and I say, you can't handle the truth.
That needs to be a clip right there from Fred. You can't handle the truth.
Exactly. Wow. You can't handle the truth.
That was from a dang movie, too.
I know, but
Nothing's original.
it's just so funny coming from his mouth when there's so many lies. You can't handle the truth. I don't think you know how to speak the truth.
So honestly, man, it's I look at him all the time and I say, you can't handle the truth. I can tell them the truth and I think I'm telling them the biggest bullshit story they ever was. And I can make up the biggest bullshit story they was, and they believe it.
He can make up the biggest bullshit story and people believe him. So, Fred, all this time, have you been making up bullshit stories that you think everyone believes? Because we know that all the theories you had came from YouTube. So now someone's talking to you, someone's paying attention to you, because people were scared to approach Fred because of the guy he shot in the neck. You don't want a bullet in your neck, do you? The guy who he shot survived, by the way. But look, from his own mouth, making up bullshit stories that people believe. From his own mouth.
What was that? Let's hear that one again.
I can tell them the truth and I think I'm telling them the biggest bullshit story they ever was.
So I could be telling them the truth and they'd think it was a bullshit story.
I can make up the biggest bullshit story they was, and they believe it.
And if you make up the biggest bullshit story there was, then they believe it. Well, so what have you been doing, Fred?
That laugh afterwards.
I mean, look, it doesn't mean to say that he has been making up bullshit stories that people believe, but just the fact that he said it, we have to ask that question. Is that what he's been doing all along?
That's why I didn't really care if I didn't talk to anybody really or not, because everything I said, they turned it around and twisted it every which way and made it look like I was the biggest liar there was.
Oh, what you mean on YouTube or just?
So this is the second interview, but it's obviously listened to a bunch of YouTube videos and what people said because they twisted it all around and blah, blah, blah. You know people are listening. So is that why you had to change your story? Because people were digging into it and realised that the scrappy would have been closed by your timeline. So you had to change it. So what's the truth? You know, apparently he doesn't lie, so what's the truth? Do we know the truth? No, we still don't know the truth. But it's the same with any of these people. 4 years down the line, and we still do not have a timeline as to what actually happened on the afternoon of June 15th, 2021, during those 3 hours when Summer completely disappeared. And if neighbours start making up stories, you've got to question why they're making up stories. Why are they getting involved, first of all? Well, okay, they're a neighbour, maybe they're concerned. But no. Once Fred knew that people were listening, then he starts adapting. That's what he starts doing. And that could just be for his own enjoyment, for his own titillation, so he can listen to what people say. Or it could be way more sinister than that. It's the same with Don Wells, Summer's dad. Like, he made up stories for his own amusement. But what it does is it makes you look really shady, because you're doing this in a missing child's case. You're a bit of a shithead, aren't you, quite frankly? Anyway, I just wanted to play that little piece there. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. And before you go, if you're not yet subscribed, please do so. It's completely free. All you have to do is click the subscribe button. That's it. That's all. Totally free. I'm trying to get to 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I've now hit 95,000 subscribers. So I've only got 5,000 to go. I think I can do it. I've got just under 5 months. I think I can do it. There's nothing in it for me other than YouTube sends you a silver YouTube play button plaque to put on your wall. And it's just a goal. It's an aim. So help me. Help me out. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts and I'll see you in the next video.